Okay, so um, no, this isn't quite the one I want. Nearly. This is the one that I want. Um,
Hello,
so, hey, Marco.
how you doing?
Yeah, great. Thanks, you.
Pretty good, thanks.
Awesome. We can sidetrack it in a minute if you like, but I was just about to intro something that I was just kind of picking up, which is hopefully a quick win, although it kind of involves naming things, if that's the right term, which is always
Oh,
fun.
no, that's not fun.
So, um, you obviously know Marco, but Alberto, Betty, I think you're probably aware of the contributor platform that we've been kind of dedicating a lot of time on recently, where we've got a nice leaderboard and we've got our kind of breakdown of everyone's activities and information about the rewards people are receiving, etc. And we've kind of got it to a point now where we're we're kind of wanting to spread the word a little bit more. So when it
Hmm?
was in its earliest stages, like we're starting to mention it and use it for a few bits, but as we build the functionality, we're ready to broadcast it a bit more loudly. So one of the opportunities, so one thing that I added, I think last weekend, I've changed the pipeline now. So what it was doing before is every 2 hours it was importing data from GitLab,
Mhm.
and it kind of it was incremental as it was only picking up today's data, if that makes sense. But as the day went on, it was taking longer and longer and longer to run that job.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, I worked on making it sort of incremental, such that it only takes like the last 10 minutes or so. And I worked on really optimizing the time that that pipeline takes to run. Although interesting, it looks like it slowed down quite a bit today. Normally I got it just under a minute, but still a minute and a half. I'm pretty happy with still. But running every 5 minutes. So now that it's pulling data in a lot more frequently, I think we're safer to go ahead. And one of the things that we wanted to do is when you close an MR, at the moment, there's a kind of little bit of blurb asking you for feedback on the journey, the experience, and we'd love to take that opportunity to promote the platform in there.
Hmm.
Um, so now knowing that, the delay should be at most maybe about 10 minutes between you sort of performing some activity and it getting into the platform. Um, like I think we're a bit safer to go ahead and do that. So I was just starting on our triage ops project to try and figure out how we want to do it now. I mean, maybe we'll disregard. I don't know. So Daniel likes to make things challenging for us, and had sort of said it would be great if we could have a slightly different sort of message if the MR is merged versus if it's closed.
Yeah.
Um, and if it's closed, let's kind of basically mention the platform at the bottom. But if it's merged, then let's open by mentioning the platform. So I don't know, maybe you can think of a slightly nicer way. What I was going to do is I've kind of put a placeholder for if we're going to mention it at the top and a placeholder for if we're going to mention it at the bottom, and then some sort of conditional stuff to decide which of those to populate or not. I don't love it, but it will do the job, and maybe I can start go a bit further with that, and then we can bounce around a few other ideas.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is what I was saying about wording as well. Like, I don't want to go too mad. I was gonna sort of say something along the lines of, yeah, find yourself on the contributor platform leaderboard, and maybe something like and learn, um, find out, learn about um, rewards or something like that.
Learn
But
about the
we could,
or
sorry,
check your
go.
or check your ongoing status or your progress or something like that.
Yeah. So check your progress. Something like that. Daniel can comment on the MR, I guess. Like we can refine that a little bit. So yeah, I kind of wanted to do something like we can change this to be in line now, maybe, and say if it's merged, then do that. Otherwise, I've got that syntax wrong, haven't I? What have I done? Have I that? Otherwise, do that, and then sort of flip reverse it, I guess, to here and say if it's merged, then blank. Probably a smarter way of doing this. Why is that? Now we're going to want a carriage return at the beginning and one at the end, I think. And if I run the specs, hopefully that will show what it should look like. I guess I'm going to have to add another sort of best case because I doubt there's one that specifically checks when the memo is closed and one when it's merged.
Mm-hmm.
So broken two tests, which is great and expected. It's yeah, this becomes even more fun. I partly wonder whether
Where is body used? Because I think
so,
to differentiate the body for closed and merged.
yeah, and like even this. So what have I done here? So I've said when using the community fork, say this. Otherwise, say this. Well, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. So we can still do the same. Like I don't love it, but
That point is kind of a matrix. So could you declare all different variants of the message and run the matrix with different combinations when coming from the community forks and the MR is merged or closed and the other option?
yeah, maybe. I'm a little bit tempted to just. You mean like with a table,
Yeah.
like where we do the table? Yeah. Um, yeah, probably. Let's try and add this. I don't like what this is becoming, if you know what I mean, but it's a little bit tricky to avoid it because I'm going to end up, I think, basically copying and pasting this into the test.
Yeah.
Um, and it gets to a point where I kind of wonder whether I'm better off just copying and pasting, like hard coding it more in the tests and copying and pasting it. If that makes sense, like rather than having all these variables in here, which
Yeah, exactly. That's more, for example, the username, I think it could be probably hard coded, but dual access, that's another thing. Like instead of having the dual access variable, just have the full message for the community forks and not the community forks, and just make sure that the right one is picked.
and you mean like just so if I was to kind of copy
Yeah, have
this,
the body for the what's
yeah. So let's do the default duo access. So yeah, this is when using the community for.
at the moment that test is covering 4 different cases, right? No, 2 different cases, because with from the community fork and not from the community fork.
Yes, in the community fork, and exactly.
Okay.
So are you sort of saying let's take this out of here and just put the body into here and take this out of here, put it into there, rather than trying to be sort of clever and
Yeah, but instead of declaring it as simply body, it would be body from community fork.
got it, yeah. And then we've got yeah, but then we would have to do all
Exactly.
unless I would actually be happy with doing like one that's from the community fork and merged and one that's not from the community fork and closed. So you're kind of testing the two. I know it's a little bit cheating, but I would be happy with the coverage from that.
Yes.
um, yeah, I don't know. Resource author, I guess, comes from. Yeah, I don't know where that comes from actually. Uh, Joe. Where does Joe like? I don't know if I can hard code Joe in or yeah, event shared context. I think Joe is the author, so I think we can code Joe in. Just makes it a bit more obvious, a bit more verbose. And
Yeah,
then this is always the same as well, right?
think so. Yeah.
So then it's just adding the automation suffix, which is the bit at the bottom that says improve it or delete it or whatever. So I'm happy to keep that in for the moment. Okay, so that should now um, I might still do what you were saying a minute ago and defining them all in one place, but let's just see if these tests. Well, they're not going to pass actually because they're not already passing, but I might stash my changes to this, check that they pass, and then stash them. So this should go here, I think. Get rid of that. Yeah, so 4-man stash.
Yeah.
I should be able to restore. And then run this back again. Never worked first time. Wow. Okay. So I can unstash. That should break it again. Perfect. And then yeah, I'm tempted just to oh yeah, okay. So I want to change okay, so let's fix it as it is first of all. So at the moment I think what the status is. I guess I can check by reading this message, which says so I think it's at the end. So I think it's not merged at this point. Yeah. So that there's one other thing I want to jump back to in a minute, but let's just copy this. So visit. Oh, it's got the newsletter in as well. I thought I got rid of the newsletter.
Hmm.
So where being blind here, where on earth is it getting that from? Oh, that's what has been stubbed. That's what has been stubbed. So, or is it? Let me just get rid of because we know that that shouldn't happen anymore.
You should have another subscribe.
So we've now got visit to learn more about the benefits, and then thanks for your help. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so have we got something? So this is the stub that's registered, and this is what's been received. And this is saying, yeah, something about the contributor platform. Visit on the leaderboard. Oh no,
Yeah, that's at the end.
fine. Yeah, leaderboard, check your progress, blah blah blah. So that should be it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So they both pass because at the moment, so yeah, what I'm considering, which is a bit naughty, but so when using merge, uh,
Or am I close to be more?
yeah, well, I'm not actually. We haven't got an event again. I could be specific, but this currently fires on merge and close. Yeah, so I mean, we could say closed, but closed isn't actually what the logic is using, even though that should be the
Oh.
only scenario. Do you know what I mean?
And
It's
if
how
it's
it should.
not merged, it has to be closed. There's
Yeah, but that's not what we're checking. So I kind of yeah.
okay.
Um, so now we need to find out how we. So I guess in here,
Merge
define.
with event. Yeah, there must be an option to specify which type of
So I'm wondering if I can just do like
state.
say yeah, they both failed. Yeah, of course they do because um, so, what I'm just yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so in here, we really need definition.
Yeah, I have to do state column state.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think we do, but we need a default state for
Oh,
all
the
the other
default.
tests. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. And now we just got one failure, which is where we need to then move. So when it is merged, we need to move this up to here. Yeah, the thing I was going to say a minute ago is I think we might even want to consider moving this above the request for feedback. I think it might want to be like the primary top level call to action is to try and get them onto the
Yeah,
contributor
because the
platform.
message is, yeah, how was your query experience with this merge request? Please tell us how we can continue to iterate. I would honestly change that first line and do something like mention the user, then thank you for your contribution and stuff like that. Check out your progress or status and stuff like that, and then what we have right now.
So you wouldn't even like when we close the MR, you wouldn't actually vary the language or the order of events?
Don't know because when you close the MR, well, yeah, you can still keep thanking the contributor for their contribution, even if it wasn't merged, and let them know that they can check their progress.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the thinking was here. It's closed. Yeah, I suppose if it's closed, like we really want to understand more about what and why. So I sort of understand. I tell you what, let's just stick with.
Yep.
I don't love this, but I'm thinking push it and then maybe like both you can comment with like your preferred like
Yep.
um I think that I agree. I would like to move this above this, but it's tricky without unless we if we were to do this um then it makes it easier to then move this to here, I think.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and what about adding a horizontal separator after the platform? I mean, saying hi to the contributor, mentioning the contributor platform,
Yeah.
add a separator, and then ask how was your review experience and stuff like that, just to give it a little bit of separation.
So let me, do you mean like, okay, so if in here we put, so this is where it gets tricky, because this wants to be
Yeah,
uh, like that chest dash. Is it that one you want that puts the
yeah,
line in?
yeah. And I think you need also a new line at the beginning.
We've already got one at the beginning. We'd need one at
Oh,
the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
I think. Is that the best way to concatenate, or should I do string interpolation?
Probably string interpolation is easier to understand.
Now you've broken all my tests, Marco.
Yep.
So we're gonna move this down to here. So this one is merged. So it is gonna have. I don't know if we do need the extra.
Uh, Not there.
Let's just see how it looks actually, and then we'll go from there. So I've
Missing.
moved this now, haven't I?
Yep.
Can't quite remember. And then,
And you're missing the wave emoji after the username.
yeah. Oh, wait a minute. It didn't say hi either, did it?
Nope.
Huh.
I think you're. Oh no, there's a new line. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will need to tweak it a little bit. I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I wish it gave you a diff here. It'd be so much easier.
Yeah.
Um, so we've got two new lines, which is right. Find that's what is stubbed. Oh, that's not helpful. Why has it done that all of a sudden? Hasn't done that with the first one, has it?
Did you add hi on the original one as well? Like not on the stopped one?
I don't quite follow.
I mean, did you also add the hi before the username on the actual code and not on the test?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't know why it's suddenly done this weird, like, what do I call it, like string encoding. I didn't. Oh no, okay. Can you ignore that one? I think it's just this one I need to look at. So, hi Joe Wave two blank lines. Yeah. That was your-
Well, if you increase the height of the terminal a little bit, I think you should be able to see both messages.
They look so close. Am I
No,
going to have to?
it's a little bit different because yeah, request access, one has two new lines and one has only one.
Okay, so where about is that sort of like before here or after?
Yeah, before that. So this one has two new lines.
So in here you're saying
Yeah.
you have access.
Okay.
That should be like that. Oh, okay, that's down to one failure, which is good. And then I haven't added dash. Oh, no, I did. Okay. So I'm guessing that I've got the new lines before and after. So you've got a new line before and a new line after is what's. Oh no, that looks the same.
Oh no, before, how was your code review? One has two new lines and one has only one.
Yeah, you're quite right. Sorry. Yeah. Now I'm not sure we need to. I'm going to copy and paste this in a minute and see how it looks.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see how this looks. Indentation.
Mm,
It's assumed it's a header because of that line. If I do this, it
yeah.
doesn't assume. So we're thinking basically another blank line before this and one after this. And to do this spec after, do line before. Passing. Wonder whether any of these other ones should be links, but I'm not going to stress about the details for now. Actually, I'm just going to copy that. Sure, I've got just what I want. Yeah. So what we're going to say, tweak feedback message.
Mm, no, MR feedback.
My brain is obviously not quite in sync with my fingers. Oh no, this is where I need to copy this. Oh, I've still got it on screen, so it's fine. I'm going to lose my clipboard when I copy and paste this.
Mm.
It's fine. That's fine. That's great. That's what it's there for. So it's saying in the spec not to do what you already told me not to do, and I should have listened in the first place. And all the lines, I'm going to let it fix itself. Rubric copy. It was in, I don't know which one it was in. There. No. More in spec. Beautiful. I would say, like, I think it's Andrew that I've got to thank for that. I'm not 100% sure, but the Control R is like one of my most used keyboard shortcuts since like starting to become Linux, vaguely Linux savvy.
Control R.
Yeah, so if I want to run a command I've already run, Control R does a search. So then
Oh,
if it's like the spec, then I can do RSpec and it will come up with the most recent RSpec command that I ran.
oh, I just use the up key, up arrow.
And just keep going until you find it. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me, Control R, like absolute lifesaver. Or time saver at least anyway. So, okay, let's do our screenshot. Link it to the issue. Cool. One
Okay.
can knocked out. Let's just maybe like Raymond. I won't ask anyone for a technical review yet. I don't think it's going to be too exciting.
Too soon.
Go. Oh, one being ticked off. Marco, anything on your list?
Well, I don't have much time left, but I guess we could have a quick chat about the time logs dashboard that I replied to, if you remember last week.
Vaguely. So let me see if it's still in my
Uh,
large to-do list. Why doesn't it like you? Have I spelt you wrong?
no, that's right. Maybe it's missing the at the beginning. Or maybe because it's already marked as done.
Yeah, but it. Oh
That
yeah,
should
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. That might be why. I mean, this just isn't working at all, is it?
I don't know anything about this.
Way to break GitLab, hey.
Yep. Oh, found it. Probably. Let's see.
Time logs. Well, there
Yes.
eventually. When you could have just sent it to me anyway, but then what? I like to do things the hard way. Right, yeah. Where do we get to? What's next?
I don't know because I didn't saw your reply. The problem is when you send
Is
it.
that because I didn't tag you?
Probably, but not an issue. Uh, hmm. Yeah. So to reply to your first question, when we set the date and don't set the time, we could get the time zone on the back end. So we could either default to the time zone set to the user,
Mm-hmm.
or I think, I'm not completely sure, but the HTTP request should also contain information about the browser time zone.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it does. And even if it does, like I say, my worry is like if you're logging some time. So, okay, you're logging some time today, but you're logging it for yesterday because you forgot to log something.
Yeah.
Now, I can't even remember, but yeah, so you can't put a time in, you can only put a date in. So if you put in yesterday, the 27th, but because you are 1 hour ahead of UTC, if that then goes into the 26th,
But
then
that would go into the 26th in UTC.
yeah, but I still think that that's a big problem because like you
But
know
that's an issue only if you see the data directly on the database, because when we present that to you, it's converted to your local time zone. So you would see it on the 27th, not the 26th.
I'm just thinking like think of it slightly. I suppose seeing anything at midnight is going to look weird anyway, but for people in like that aren't, so imagine I'm looking at it and I am in UTC, so I see it and it looks like it's something that you did really late on Sunday night, but actually you did it randomly during the day on Monday. That's what I think will be really misleading. And maybe that's because like I've always, when I've used time logs in the past, I've always used the time element as well as the date element. So maybe it's either just me and my interpretation, or like I almost think it'd be better to default to midday to 12 rather than 0, because that way, if somebody like if you're saying I did this yesterday, the chances are, like if you say at midnight, then the worst you could be is 24 hours wrong. Whereas if you say at midday, then the worst you could be is 12 hours wrong. So maybe that's a better way of tackling it.
That's a workaround, yes, but I still think that we should have the same logic. I mean, having times set in UTC, date and times, both in UTC and not in UTC, because when you log a time log using the UI,
Yep.
that's you set the date, uh, and the time is defaulted to, I guess, the midnight on your current time zone and converted to UTC.
So when you're retrospectively logging time, do you mean?
Even if
No, when you log time
No.
normally, it takes the
Yeah.
current date and time, so it doesn't need to care about like
Yes,
time
but
zones.
that's still wrong because when you use the UI and don't set the spent at value, the spent at value is computed on the back end, so it's on the time zone of the server.
No, it's irrelevant.
It's not UTC.
Well, I would say it's irrelevant because it takes the current time and the zone on the server. So it doesn't matter what time and zone you are, right? Because the time and zone is correct on the server.
Okay. It's such a mess dealing with date times. Uh, because the time log creation service, when you don't specify a spent at value, that uses the UTC now function,
Yeah.
which returns the current time in UTC.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe it's fine if the data, maybe it's fine if the server is in UTC, but is it problematic if it's, I don't think so. As long as it's storing it in UTC, like I think that's fine.
Can you go a little bit up on the issue? Because I did some examples. So using quick action, I did set the date computed on the back end. But I sent in the date manually. This is at the beginning of the day. Computed on the back end. But I don't remember if you see the server always sets UTC +0.
Yeah.
So that's in UTC.
Yeah.
But when I logged case 4, case 4 is right because I logged where did I set? I logged the time log on January the 15th,
Yeah.
and that converted it to January the 14th in UTC because it subtracted 1 hour because I'm in UTC +1.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but hopefully you know what I mean as well. Like you were retrospectively logging time for the 15th of January, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's then set it to actually 11 o'clock on the 14th. But what you probably wanted to do and meant to do is log time that you spent some point during the day on the 15th and not at midnight. And therefore, by it saying you spent it at midnight, it's actually way, way far out, if that makes sense, then
But that's only if you really care about when exactly during the day you spend the time, not just I spent it on the 15th.
yeah, maybe. I still think it just, yeah, it looks weird as well. I know that it's only an hour out because of your time zone, but like, yeah,
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 but
it just,
imagine people that are 12 hours difference from you.
yeah.
Even midday would still cut it. And I know that there are a couple of time zones that are so strange, like 12 and a half or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do think that the 12s default into midday when you're retrospectively logging time without passing a date in would be much more, I don't know, law of averages would make it better and safer, but
That's
um
that's true. I agree with that.
So maybe that's an insane suggestion that it feels like we shouldn't be the first people tackling this problem. The other thing to do would be like if we
At
I
that
was
time.
thinking, yeah, but then I don't quite know how you would do it because again, what you want to do is a bit like you do with the date, right? Leave it blank so that it assumes the current date and time, but then maybe if you fill something in here, it then
I would
populates.
At that point, I would honestly change the spent at from a date picker to the same control that we have now on the MR for setting the merge after. And where, because there you can set both the date and time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that way you basically escape from this rabbit hole because
Well, you do for the UI, right? But then I guess you've still got the problem when using the quick action.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What's
Is
the
it have we looped in? Should we loop in?
we
It's
mentioned
yeah.
it. I don't know if he missed it. Did I mention him? Yeah, I did.
Must admit, Gabe hasn't. I pinged Gabe on something a little while ago. He hasn't come back to me either. So I don't know if they're a bit in the
Yeah, they're
thick of
probably,
something at the moment.
I
What
think
it might be.
they're following work items. Yeah, I don't know what's the
Um,
best option is.
um, um, they're the main things I want to share.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
although going back to this, right? Should we're thinking about what we'd love to happen, right, in the future, but should we be also just thinking about a quick win here and like an iterative approch? And
Oh yeah,
is
quick win is definitely switching to midday. That's the easiest option.
well, I don't know. Isn't the quick win? Isn't it just that when again, I need to almost reread this to remind myself what the problem is. But isn't the problem that when you search, it's searching UTC, or is that not what's happening?
Well, searching in UTC would be right because I
No,
want.
well, what I mean is like, let's say, based on your example, um, down here.
Yeah,
So if you were to search for time logs on Wednesday the 15th, would it return this one or not?
it would because if I tell it to search for Wednesday the 15th, it would convert that to UTC. So the search would be from Tuesday the 14th at 23 o'clock.
So the search is already handling the time zone. So what's the bug then? I'm lost. Let me reread this. For example, user have tracked their work 16 to 17.
I mean, oh, you mean right now in production?
Yeah.
I need to check. That's what I hope it should be doing, but we need to check.
So they've done 16th to the 16th and it's returning the 17th at UTC plus 2.
Yeah, because that should be 16. In UTC 0, that should be 16th at the 20.
Yeah, so that tells me that we're searching based on UTC at the moment, right? And we shouldn't be.
Oh, well, I think we should only use one. I mean, do everything in UTC and the UI should be local to the user.
Yeah, what I mean, yeah, what I mean is if you put in 16 and 16 here and you're, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so actually this, in certain scenarios, this could, no. We're assuming this user here is a UTC +2, which they've said there. So that shouldn't be bringing back this one.
Yeah, unless I don't know. We should check the query because the other two at the bottom there are still at midnight +2. So yeah, maybe the search is a little bit of like including.
Oh, you think it might just be like a greater than equal to rather than a.
Yeah,
I think that's all right, but I could be wrong. I think it's simply that we're not taking the local user's time zone into consideration. I think we're just sending
as well.
Yeah, the date part, and it's just saying do this in UTC. Yeah.
I have to check that. Yeah.
Cool. I'll add that note as well. Betty, Alberto, any questions or anything before we disappear?
Nothing from me. Thank you. That was really useful to see how you work. Hopefully I can join soon and bring something up to work.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining, and feel free to reach out to us. Like we have this scheduled session, but we're happy to jump on ad hoc ones. We're on Discord, etc. So yeah, shout if you need anything.
Okay, thank you
for sharing, and also really fun the achievement board with badges, and really fun.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining again, and yeah, you know where you are if we need you. Have a great day.
Yes. Bye. You too.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.